Is it supposed to be this hard? That's a question that many new mothers ask as a wave of new feelings and hormones come crashing in and postpartum begins.
As Perinatal Mental Health Week begins across Australia, we are shining a light on the 1 in 5 mothers who experience perinatal anxiety and depression.
For more, we're joined by Sophie Walker, who is the author of The Complete Guide to Postpartum and the host of the Australian Birth Stories podcast. Morning to you, Sophie. Just tell us a bit about your own story and why you're so passionate about this field. That statistic is just terrible. 1 in 5 women with anxiety and depression after giving birth.
Yeah, it's a staggering statistic, but it's really not surprising in the way that the current system is set up. So my background is I'm a mother of 3 boys, and my first birth was really challenging. So I was the 1 in 4 that experienced birth trauma. So I went into my first postpartum experience with a wonderful support network of friends and family, but I really was overrun with the physical recovery from sort of forceps and a hemorrhage and a really challenging birth experience. And it sort of prompted me, I already had a background in women's health, but it prompted me to want to start the podcast and help educate and support other women so they don't go into this stage of life blindsided.
Yeah.
Sophie, people often talk about, bouncing back from birth or getting back to normal, whatever that is, after pregnancy. But looking at these stats, are we looking at it the wrong way?
Yeah, I think there's this expectation. You have your 6-week check after you've had your baby, and Mon, I'm sure you'll attest to this. No one's ready to get back to their old life after 6 weeks, and those discussions with your care provider is often, yes, you're fit to exercise, you're fit to have sex, and they're probably the last things that you're wanting to do. But in between that first 6 weeks, you're navigating how to settle a baby, what's baby sleep cycles, how to breastfeed, all of those things. And you've gone from a model of care where you're seeing a healthcare provider sort of multiple of 10 times throughout that 9 months of pregnancy, and then you have one appointment with a healthcare provider and you're expected to just navigate all of these challenges. And in reality, it takes 24 months for the body and the mind to physically recover from childbirth.
Yeah. How do you see that the system needs to change?
Yeah, well, we need sort of support at every level. And I think we're set up to fail because you see social media and everybody just sort of out there with their prams having a great time, but you don't see the harrowing tears and milk and spillage at home. And I think we don't have realistic expectations. And I think we've created this book and the podcast to help sort of gently encourage people to plan and understand what this period of life can really be like so they don't feel like they're isolated and they're failing. It really is a very, very difficult time, and our government invests 6% of the maternity care budget into postpartum and the rest goes into pregnancy. So we liken it to you're a princess during pregnancy and everybody loves the bump, and as soon as you've had the baby, there's really a free fall into just, you've just got to navigate that yourself.
Yeah.
Sophie, there's some stats here as well around new dads, and 1 in 10 experience perinatal depression and anxiety. This is something that isn't often spoken about.
Yeah, and it's a huge upheaval for the entire family. Your whole life has changed. You're both going through that sleep deprivation. And I think we've touched on this in a few episodes on the podcast, but in particular in episode 412, we interview a dad who was actually admitted into, it was called the mother-baby unit in Sydney at the time, but they've since changed it to a parenting unit to encompass and invite both parties, so both the mother and the father, because Dylan, who we spoke to in that episode, had a pre-existing history of anxiety and depression, and the baby's crying and the lack of sleep and their family dynamics changing really triggered things for him. So understanding that it's so complicated and that to have a happy, healthy baby, you need happy, healthy parents, and we're just not supporting parents the way that we should be.
All really good points. Sophie Walker, thank you.
Thanks, Sophie. And of course, if this story has brought up any issues for you, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14.